People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when he died.
Jay-Z and Puffy wanted Biggie.
You are not gonna believe this. Diddy's ex-bodyguard released a video saying that Diddy had Biggie killed after their engagement at LA.
Jay-Z and Puffy wanted Biggie.
Uncle Ron was Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce's ex-bodyguard, which makes his confession sound convincing. He released a video recently saying that Diddy and Jay-Z are responsible for Biggie's death. In this video, he said that on the 1st of March 1997, Diddy offered him the sum of $30,000 to perform a hit on Biggie Smalls, and that he rejected the offer after he noticed that Diddy wanted a right to all Biggie's catalog.
I was offered $30,000 to perform a hit on Biggie Smalls. March 1st of 1997, I was approached by Diddy to perform a hit on one of his artists, finding out that he wanted all the rights.
Ever since Biggie was murdered in cold blood, his killers have yet to be found. Remember, this incident happened over 25 years ago, and to this day, nothing has been said about those behind his death. Isn't it surprising? After his murder, rumors about Diddy's involvement in his death began to spread. Biggie's fans believe and still believe that Biggie was murdered by Diddy for so many reasons, not minding the fact that they seemed close while he was alive. Now, this isn't new to the entertainment industry, but it's kinda convincing though, following the confession Uncle Ron made lately. What do you think? Was Uncle Ron paid to tarnish Diddy's image, or was he telling the truth? We got to find that out. Let's face it, Diddy has been on the winning side even after Biggie's death. People including Jaguar have repeatedly and openly said that Diddy has been cashing out off Biggie's name even after his death.
Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive.
Another fan tweeted, P. Diddy made more money by using Biggie's name than what Biggie made while he was alive. There was an album that was supposed to be released months after Biggie's death, and it would end the contract between Biggie and Bad Boys. Guess what? The album was not released. Before we get into details, let's do a major throwback, shall we? Far back in 1992, Diddy met with the then up-and-coming artist after seeing his picture in a magazine. After their meeting, Biggie Smalls was signed into Bad Boy Entertainment, owned by Diddy. Diddy probably saw his potential and lured him into working for him. Well, Biggie Smalls dropped his debut album Ready to Die in 1994 and never released any other album. Biggie was shot dead by an unknown gunman on the 9th of March 1997 at the age of 24, just when he was at the peak of his career. He was murdered in LA after an engagement, and you know what makes the issue more interesting? His bodyguard, Gene Deal, who was with him when he was killed, came out to spill some facts about Biggie and what led to his untimely death. Just like Jaguar, he said that Diddy was ripping Biggie off and that the rapper landed a bigger deal and planned to leave Bad Boy's label weeks before he died. In his interview with DJ Vlad, Gene said that Biggie gave him his briefcase to hold on to while they were on a flight. He opened it and found his contract with Bad Boy Records when he skimmed through and found out that his earnings were just about $250 with no publishing income attached. He said that he asked him why, and the rapper told him of his latest deal.
Briefcase and everything like that, like, yo, here, like me carry this. Say, all right, I got 5 hours, 6 hours on this thing. Let me see what's in the briefcase. And I seen big contract, and it was talking about, well, you get 250,000, for signing. You're gonna get another 250,000. The thing go gold. Then you're gonna get this much, and you're gonna get that much. And then at the end of the contract, I was skimming through it. At the end of the contract said, we're gonna discuss about you getting your publishing and your marketing back. Right. So I was asking Biggs questions about that because I didn't know what publishing was. I didn't know what marketing was.
He claimed that Biggie's new deal was bigger and better than what he was earning at the time at Bad Boys Records, and that the contract was a long-term deal with pay of about $62 million.
So he showed me, I said, you about to get that money? He said, yeah, look at this. It had Charlie Baltimore, Cameron, Little C's, Little Kim, Junior Mafia, Tracy, I don't know, Tracy Murray,
Tracy Lee,
and the commission. And I think the contract was for so many years for like 62 million. It comes out to like $62 million.
Diddy allegedly heard of this deal and turned a red eye. This sounds convincing because Biggie was drawing some real cash into the label. Guess Diddy did want to let go. Now this isn't really an assumption. DMX also believes that Diddy took advantage of Biggie while he was alive.
Upside them. And it was a blessing and a curse because I'm sure they were happy about getting signed first and they were on the Benjamins and shit was going on. But then he made them jiggy and put them in suits and and made them write lyrics for him and took all that publishing and
50 Cent believes this as well. Even though he didn't blatantly mention that Diddy had a hand in Biggie's death, he said in a song that Diddy knows who killed Biggie, but is scared to say to avoid getting hit.
Cent raps, who shot Biggie Smalls? If we don't get them, they gonna kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that man. He scared them boys from the west side gonna break him off.
Now that's not all. Maze, a former artist under Bad Boy's record, said in his song titled Oracle 2 Standing on Bodies, representing every artist that was left behind, Craig Mack to G Dep, I still remember them kids trampled. For every producer you ever stole their sample.
It's like representing every artist that was left behind, from Craig Mack to G Dep. I still remember them kids trampled. For every producer you ever stole their sample.
By that statement, we know he was referring to Diddy and the 1991 incident that happened at City College that claimed the lives of about 9 people. He didn't stop there. He mentioned that Diddy had also been eating fat off Biggie's album without giving his commission to his mother, Voletta Wallace. Speaking of Voletta Wallace, she wrote a book titled Biggie. Voletta Wallace remembers her son Christopher. In that book, she wrote about the amount her son received while he was signed by Diddy into the record label, saying, "The truth is, Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. That was a lot of money for Christopher back then. As a 19-year-old, he has never seen that much at one time in his life. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. It was enough to buy him a blind love and loyalty."
Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. That was a lot of money for Christopher back then as a 19-year-old. He had never seen that much at one time in his life. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. It was enough to buy a blind love and loyalty.
Her statement sort of confirms what Gene Deal said about Biggie's contract with Bad Boys and also implies that all what he said was for real. The dots are finally starting to connect. To back up what Gene said about Biggie's trying to leave the label, Uncle Ron confirmed it in his video. In his words, Biggie had planned to leave Bad Boys because he was tired of being used and abused by Diddy.
You don't have to believe me, believe the facts. Here's a man that wanted to leave Bad Boy. He wanted to do his own thing. He mentioned several times how he was tired of being used and abused, that he was bigger than Bad Boy.
Now, even though this is about Diddy, Uncle Ron didn't hesitate to give a good reason why Jay-Z wanted Biggie gone. He said that Jay-Z wanted Biggie out of the way to become the best and most wanted hip-hop artist. He then advised Biggie's fans to understand what is really going on in the industry.
Wanted him out of the industry, period, so he could take over and be the biggest hip-hop artist around. And I wonder who's the biggest hip-hop artist today. It's all business, folks. And unfortunately, you as a fan, most of you won't understand.
Gene Deal also revealed some info in his interview with DJ Vlad. He said that while he was conversing with Diddy behind the scenes, he stated clearly that he was all about making money and doesn't mind if Tupac and Biggie are dead. Now this one is a big one because he said this 2 months before they both died.
Soul Train thing. He said, "Yo, Gene, I got 126 employees, and these people depend on me for their livelihoods. If these white folks thought or they would think that I had anything to do with any kind of gunplay, they wasn't gonna with me, and they not gonna with me." He said, "I'm a businessman. I'm about making money, but something gotta change. I don't give a if Pac gotta die, Big gotta die, or Suge Knight go to jail. Something."
Being there at the scene with Biggie, he added that before Biggie was shot that day, the shooter approached Diddy first and that the sketch made to describe who murdered Biggie is false. He said the cops have information about the man that matches the descriptions eyewitnesses gave, but do not want to release it.
At the hospital, he said a Muslim shot Big. And I said to Paul, with the blue suit, white shirt, blue bow tie, he said, "Gene, how you know?" I said, "That motherfucker walked up to Puff car first." There's a picture that the LAPD, when they came to interview me with my lawyer, Eloise Nurse there, and they made a mistake and showed me that picture. And then they had a bunch of pictures on the wall. I said, "What these pictures is?" And I grabbed the picture. And the picture was the Muslim guy me and Puff in there. So it came from some kind of camera from the Peterson Museum, but they had the face of the Muslim guy messed up. And then they're giving me this they gonna have the computer regenerate some kind of photo and stuff like that and show it to me at a later time in 2 weeks, or fly me out to LA. I never heard back from.
If what Gene is saying is true, why hasn't anyone at all, including Diddy, done something about it? Weird, right? Meanwhile, while others believe that Diddy killed Biggie, some believe that Diddy would never harm Biggie for any reason. One of those people is Biggie's former wife, Faith Evans. She said in her interview with Hollywood Live Uncensored that Diddy would never do anything to harm Biggie. She said that they were quite close and their relationship was superb.
What I know is that Puff would never have Puff would never be involved in one of his best friends. That's outside of him being his artist. You know what I'm saying?
Apart from Faith Evans, a retired LAPD detective, Greg Kading, who led the team in charge of Biggie's case, revealed in his documentary called The Murder Rap that someone else is responsible for Biggie's death and not Diddy.
2-decade-old incident revealed his findings in a documentary called.
He said that Diddy hired Crips gang members to shoot Tupac and his manager for $1 million. But Anderson, Keith D's nephew, who was also a member of the Southside Crips, happened to kill only Tupac. He also said that Tupac's manager, in a bid to avenge Tupac's death, hired Gucci to kill Biggie for $13,000. This is kinda complicated at this point. Even Diddy, in his own interview on Wendy Williams' show, said he felt a bit responsible for Biggie's death. He said that his regret is allowing Biggie to talk him into staying in LA instead of taking a flight back to London after his engagement.
I think I always feel some sort of, responsibility because I'm in this thing with him, you know what I'm saying? He's my artist, and he was supposed to go to London that night, and I let him talk me into not going to London and staying in LA, and that that's something that really bothered me throughout my life. Is sometimes you have to really go with that decision in your gut, and in my gut I was like, you need to get on the plane. But sometimes when you don't listen to your gut, and this is God's world, it's His plan.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's one of the things I regret, and I'm making sure that he went.
Even though this did sound convincing, a former Bad Boys Entertainment president, Kirk Burroughs, said that Diddy wasn't telling the truth, and that Diddy was the one that asked Biggie to remain in LA instead of flying to London.
You have a budget for everything that you do. The budget for Big in LA for the awards show ended that Friday night, Saturday morning, when a new budget started to get him from LA to London, where he would be taken care of with security, his friends, and everyone that he wanted to be with him in the style that he was accustomed to handle the press junket. When that didn't happen, that budget was never opened. The budget for LA ended, and there was a great need for security that Saturday night, and he was out without that security. The beef up. And we lost him.
This differing situation has me puzzled for real. Was Diddy trying to cover up his crime at the Wendy Williams show? What do you think about Gene and Uncle Ron's confession?